It's a daddy show. Step off.
It's time for the main event.
Hey, what is up? Welcome back to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and this here is the one and only Tom Clark's Main Event. What's up, kids? Happy Friday to you. If I look like I'm in the center of a cave, there's a good reason for that, because I am indeed in the center of a cave. It's the Tom Cave here. Well, no. To be quite transparent with you, if you guys will recall, and you better be paying attention, there's a test at the end of this show. Okay. I was on one side of the office. Remember the church echo that I had? You know, take him to church, right? The big cathedral sound. Had to get out of that. The acoustics are great if you're playing an instrument. Not so great if you're recording a podcast. Okay. Because it made it sound like I was, you know, in a massive, well, dome or something. I was not. So I had to get out of that. The problem was, or the problem is, I should say, the lighting in this office I'm currently in is very bright, not bright, but it's dim. So I haven't figured it out yet. So please bear with me. It's all good. In the meantime, I've never looked better. You guys are lucky to be catching me on such a good hair day. My beard's on point. I got the bling happening. Huh? You know how I roll, baby. I have the wrist and finger accessories. If you're just listening to the show and you don't watch it, man, are you missing out? I'm telling you. Anyway, welcome back to the show. If you've never watched Tom Clark's Main Event before, I'm Tom. What's up? The main event's been going strong since 2014. I started this here little podcasting career around 2012, 2013, started doing guest spots on shows, then decided to do my own thing. The main event, which you're watching today, is the flagship podcast for Boink Studios. That's my production company. We currently have 3 podcasts up and running. The main event, which you're watching and listening to now. We also have Tom Clark's 6M podcast, which focuses on movies, music, Marvel, magazines, miniseries, and more. There's your 6 M's. And also Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast, which is a Ted Lasso rewatch podcast. There you go. The main event, as you all know, is exclusively pro wrestling all day, all the time. So thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. We very much appreciate you. And we've got a lot to get in here to today. We've got an hour to do so. And before we do, let's get the ticker ticking, shall we? There you go, baby. Episode 321. We are 21 weeks removed from the 300th episode of this here little podcast. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If you have not smashed the like button, I'm really going to need you to do that. Smash the like button for me. That's number 1 ask, okay? Number 2, share this show on your social channels, please and thank you. Wherever you're on social media, the Facebook as we are now, the Twitter or the X, whatever you want to call it. If you're on those 2 platforms, if you're on Instagram, you can share it in a story. Instagram's wacky. What can I say? Are you on Blue Sky? You can share the link there as well. Wherever you're on social media, it would be greatly appreciated. Share it to your Facebook page. And again, none of these activities put any dollars in my pocket, but man, they sure do make me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Let's get it kicked off here today, kids. Robbie, what's going on? Good to see you. Sugar Shane, back in the house. CRP, what's up, my friend? Charles Hinkle, how you doing? What's up, Gavin? Gavin in Scotland, yes? Gavin, how into wrestling are you? How into wrestling are you? The reason I ask is I'm always looking for intelligent, well-spoken co-hosts. CRP can tell you that. So if you ever want to do a guest spot on the show, you got to be quick. You got to be quick, though. Ray will tell you got to be quick. Know what I mean? Quick. If you're curious, hit me up. Hit me up. What sounded neat in your headphones? What sounds neat, Chris? What did I miss? Brino, what's up, everybody? Please welcome Brino to the show. Brino's been on the main event. Brino, we'll have to get you back on the show sometime, brother. Josh McManus, good to see you. Where'd you go? There you is. Carlos Martinez, what's up? Oh, sorry, Chris. Yeah. Sean, right? It's been a long week. Josh says, nobody, no aid. Look, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to do something we don't really do here much on the main event. We're going to kick off with WWE. I know what you're thinking. Hell done froze over. Tom done lost his mind. I assure you I have. However, take comfort from the fact that sucker's been gone years ago. It's been fried for years. I don't do substances. I'm 100% drug-free, alcohol-free. I am, I've forgot the term. I told you it's been a long week. Straight edge. There we go. I didn't need CM Punk to tell me that. Straight edge. However, up here, gone. CRP said, are we talking about Alex Shelley and Impact right off the... No, but I did see that Chris Sabin got the X Division Championship again, yeah? Are he and Shelley still the Motor City Machine Guns? Boy, there's a mouthful, right? Are they still running together? Thank you, Josh. You're awesome, my friend. How's Alex's world title run going there, Chris? I'm glad to see it. Those two guys, man, are Hall of Fame performers, if I've ever seen them. Good for them. Look, man, I'm not a huge Impact guy. I can watch it. I don't care much for male versus female. I've made my thoughts here, not on the show. I don't disparage any talent, any male versus female that want to work each other. I don't knock the performers in any way. For me personally, it's not for me, which is one of the reasons I kind of tend to not go too much to Impact. However, I will say that for their pay-per-views, they tend to step it up pretty well. So I've checked out some of their pay-per-views recently, and I've not been disappointed at all. So yeah. Let's kick it off right off the bat. You know that story that everyone's been talking about for 6 years, 7, whatever the number is now, 10? I don't even know what the number is now. So according to this dude, you may know him, you may not. The Rock, I don't know, some new dude. He's got a great look though, so keep your eyes open. This kid may be going places. He appeared on the Pat McAfee show on Friday. He says that a match between him and Roman at WrestleMania 39 was at one point, quote, locked in quote. It's the truth. The Rock told Pat McAfee on Friday that he met with Vince McMahon and Nick Khan in early 2022 and agreed to face his cousin in SoFi Stadium the following year. However, Rock says he didn't want to just do one match to do a match. He wanted to do something unprecedented that would change the industry, but they never nailed down what that would be. Quote, The Rock headlining WrestleMania with Roman Reigns, SoFi Stadium, that was locked, Rock said. We were doing it. The beginning of 2022, Nick Khan, who we know, very good friend for years. He's the man. He was very instrumental in bringing Vince and I together. We all flew to LA. We met. We sat. We started talking about the potential of what this match could be between myself and Roman Reigns heading to WrestleMania at SoFi. And we shook hands and we hugged right there, all three of us at the table, and said, let's do this. So then we had a year to really think about this. The North Star thought was, okay, let's not do something good. Let's do something great. Let's do something unprecedented. We can have the match, but the bigger thought was what can we do for the fans of this business that we love, where Mania isn't the end of something, it's actually the beginning of something bigger. End quote. The problem is apparently they didn't know what that something bigger was going to be. They couldn't figure this out. He went on to say, we got really, really close, but we couldn't actually nail what that thing was, so we decided to put our pencils down. Then we agreed, hey, listen, there's a merger coming up. Eventually that will happen. So there's WrestleMania in Philadelphia. I'm saying that's a potential too. I'm open. But again, let's figure out what this is because the fans deserve something just incredible and unprecedented. And not only that, but I also want to deliver to the locker room and the boys and girls the back there who are working their butts off. What can we do to put them in a position where they are a part of something that is a new change, an era in this world of pro wrestling? Okay. Everybody's been talking about this, and everybody's got thoughts. Don't you all get quiet on me now, because I ain't having it. Okay, for 3+, 5+, 6+, 7+ years, all I've heard about is Roman versus Rock, Roman versus Rock, Rock versus Roman, and Rock versus Roman. Head of the family, head of the table, head versus head. Who's the new head? Head of this, head of that. Wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. That's all I've heard. Put the lay on the dude. Give him the flowers. Here come the bull, the Brahma bull. Here come the head of the table. They're going to clash, and uh-oh, look out, Tom. We have to have it. It's a dream match to end all dream matches. I got to see it. I want to see it. I'm dying to see it. You can't stop me from seeing it. Well, now you got the quotes. Now you got the interview. Don't get quiet on me now. Let me hear your thoughts. Because trust me, I've done been blown up for 5+ years about this freaking match that has never happened. So now I want to hear it. Good, bad, or indifferent. Give it to me. There's 18 of you here. I want 18 opinions. Hit me. Don't get shy now, baby. All right, we're rolling. It's Friday. It's 4:15. I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling okay. What's up, Montrese? How you doing? Good to see you. Brino, I'm starting with you. Everybody keeps saying the match just makes sense, but I don't see it. They're just related. That's it. Where's the story? Thank you. Thank you, Brino. You ain't up there. I don't know what. Dude, I don't, it's this, dude, anyone who grew up during the Attitude Era can attest to this. There's this romantic notion of the Attitude Era, like the Wild West. You know how we've romanticized the Wild West in Hollywood for years? The cowboys are dead sexy, and it's like, it's such a cool vibe. And, we've romanticized bloodshed and murder and rape and, awful cold-blooded killing. But Tombstone's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's the effing truth. I'm not going to lie. I'm a John Wayne guy. I'm a Jimmy Stewart guy. I love some of those old classic Westerns. I'm not going to lie to you. But man, have we romanticized that age of that age of humanity for years in our books, movies, TV, radio, whatever. Right? Right? The amount of people that romanticize the Attitude Era blows my mind, as if it was the greatest thing of all time. Brother, I lived through the Attitude Era. I wasn't a kid. I was a man during the Attitude Era. And I'm going to tell you right now, no matter what people tell you, if you didn't live through it, do not believe the hype. Was it exciting? Sure. Was it fun? Sure. Was there a lot of hot garbage? Brother, there were steaming piles of it. Okay? And Rock, to his credit, who was an all-time great, and I'll never argue that, he was part of just as much silly storylines, just as part of as much hot garbage that you could possibly imagine. They all were, because at that time they were throwing everything at the wall they could to see what would stick. And for that company, 90% of it stuck. But the other 10%, not so much. Sorry to rant. It's just how I feel today. I'm in a ranting kind of mood. So yeah, I don't get it either, Brino. CRP says, I think the deal was done with Roman versus Rock, and WWE dialed it back because of something with Endeavor. Yeah, that's the story. Well, not of something with him supposedly, but that Rock just couldn't think of something. Gavin says, Ireland. Oh, my bad, dude. Who's in Scotland then? I won't do a terrible Irish accent. What's up, Renato? Jamel in Vegas, what's going on? All right, Montrese. I mean, we could make this match about who is better. Seriously, think about. Okay, all right, fine. Who is better? But Ed, what? But why? Rock doesn't work anymore. Rock's not passing the torch. He's not there to pass it to anyone. I'm not disputing what you said. What you said makes sense. However, how do you pass a torch to somebody when you're no longer there? Besides, Roman's already got the torch. That thing's been burning in his hand for years. Right? People have passed things to him. John passed to him. Brock passed to him. Taker passed to him. Rock has to do it too? I'm sorry. I just don't. I'm not feeling it. I'm not saying you're wrong. What you're proposing, Montrese, makes sense, and that may be the route they take. I'm just not feeling it. Chris says it isn't like The Rock would just show up directly at Mania. It would have had a Cena versus Rock build, I'm sure. Agreed. All Roman had to say is he is the true people's champion. Boy, the minute you say people's champion, that's going to get everybody going, oh, right? Oh. Imagine tuning in right now and you don't know anything about this show and it's just some white dude going, right? I'm just going to I should just freeze like the stream is screwed up. Just have people pop in and try to imagine what's going on. That story books itself with family, Heyman and Cocky. Yeah, you're right. But man, people going nuts. Carlos says, if it happens, it happens. If not, then whatever. Not going crazy over this. Hey man, I don't care. Whatever. Dude, that's like the best take ever. Jamel says, The Rock said that they didn't have a plan for, yeah, that's right. That's true. Daniel Price, watching on the YouTube, says wrestling didn't start in with Attitude Era. Thank you. Too many call that the golden era. Wrong. Thank you. The golden era was the mid to late 80s when NWA, World Class, AWA, and WWF were all putting out stars. And again, thank you. Now, Daniel, I suspect that you and I are around the same age, so we both grew up with it. Here's the funny part. The kids that grew up with the Attitude Era don't agree with you at all, and probably don't agree with me at all either. And you know what? That's okay. People tend to gravitate to whatever their favorite, to wherever wrestling they grew up with tends to be their favorite era of wrestling. Not all of us, but a lot of us. So while you and I have strong opinions on this, okay, people who grew up during that time probably don't agree. And to be fair, kids who are 15, 16 today, 20 years from now are going to look back and say the most exciting wrestling I ever saw was AEW, was New Japan. Maybe not even WWE in the conversation, right? But this will be the wrestling they'll grow up with and say it's the best wrestling ever. And I'll be honest with you. At this day and age, with all the wrestling available on your dial, brother, it's a great time to be a pro wrestling fan, for sure. But you and I are of the same mindset. In my humble opinion, the territory era is the golden age. That's me. Chris says, we both know the reason is it would increase ticket sales and subscribers. Oh, for sure. Look, it's all about making money. I'm totally fine with that. I mean, if you're not in the business to make money, you're in the business for the wrong reasons. Reno said it would also be interesting to see The Rock as a celebrity. He's explained working with and around Vince, now knowing what we know. I feel like that would clash with his ultimate good guy thing. Yeah. And plus, if you tried to turn Rock heel for whatever weird reason they could try to do so at this point in time, he would give maximum effort. But how many people are really going to boo The Rock at this point? So yeah, I think you're right. Shane says, I think The Rock wanted some form of ownership. That's not the story. You may well end up being right, but I don't know if that's the story. That's not what he's telling. Chris says, wasn't he talking about last year's Mania 2022? I don't think it's happening this year. They have moved on to Cody. I hope they've moved on to Cody. We'll see. We shall see. We'll circle back to this, kids, if anyone's got an opinion on down the line. I don't know where this is going to go, if it's going to go anywhere. I just kind of wish this match would already happen. That way I don't have to hear any more about it. There's my 2 cents. The first round of WWE Layoffs have happened. We knew this was going to happen. If you didn't know, now you know. Unfortunately, this is what happens when companies merge, when companies are bought out. Oftentimes, layoffs happen. It's unfortunate. There's nothing worse than being out of a job. Trust me on that. It's tough. It's tough. I feel bad for those who are now today looking for something else to do. It's a shame. Multiple executives gone from WWE in post-merger layoffs. This, of course, is following Endeavor's acquisition of WWE. And as we know, UFC, WWE now under the same umbrella as TKO, yeah? Let's see. Jamie Horowitz, EVP of Development and Digital, and Catherine Newman, EVP and Head of Marketing, have been laid off by the company. There you go. Horowitz was hired in 2021. He previously worked for ESPN, Fox Sports, and DAZN. In 2017, Horowitz was fired from his position as president of Fox Sports National amid a sexual harassment investigation. Uh-oh. That's not good, is it? Newman was the chief marketing officer for Manchester United Media prior to joining WWE in 2022. Also, Amanda Bloom, who worked as director of Enterprise Master Data and Governance, has also been laid off by WWE. So Bloom was with the company for nearly 8 years, originally working as a metadata specialist. And this will probably not be the last. By the way, this is all coming from PWI Insider. So there you go. So look, again, this is a shame and it's unfortunate. These things happen. This will probably not be the last. Look, kids, don't be surprised when you start seeing talent fired as well. I'm not predicting it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I would not be surprised if it happened. I'm just letting you know right now, some of your favorites may not be here 7 days from now. It's prep. It's just prep. That's all this is. Okay. What's up, Bear Jackson? Good to see you, my friend. Carlos, I heard the same thing. They did not renew Elias's contract. Apparently, they just allowed it to lapse. Is that right? Dolph Ziggler. I don't know about the Dolph Ziggler part, maybe. Boy, if Dolph Ziggler's time is over, he's got a career and a half waiting for him in another company. And I don't know if he cares about it or not. I have no idea if he cares about it or not, about going anywhere else. Maybe he's done. Dolph's had a phenomenal run, a run to be proud of. So if he's done, he's done. So, yeah. Kevin Kwiatkowski. Brother, if I butchered it, I apologize. Yeah, that Matt Riddle story is a little bit more than unusual. Look, I said here last week on the program, and I was as respectful as I could be. I'm not a Matt Riddle guy. I don't wish him ill will or anything. Nothing like that. Nothing against the guy. He's not my cup of tea. A lot of people love him. He's popular with a lot of folks. He's not popular with me. I'm not into his shtick. I respect the fact that he came from UFC. He's got that background. I respect the fact that he crossed over and found huge success. Good on him. Mazel tov to him. But I'm just not a huge fan. That's just me. I said all this last week, so sorry to bore you all to death with it. But yeah, I just, it's not for me. But yeah, we'll see what happens with him, man. And look, if he is done, he can get a job wrestling wherever he wants to. That's the truth. Somebody will pick him up, I believe, unless he's just lost his head. Who knows? Chris says, I don't think we will see layoffs of anyone on the current roster. Honestly, if they follow suit with what they did with UFC, they will just let old talent walk and keep current stars. Well, you could be right. Production people, combining officers behind the scenes, etc. I would be more worried about. Yeah, you could be right. But again, I would not be surprised if they are, I don't know. Who do you think on that roster may not fit the vibe that they're going for? I don't know. Well, I heard a little rumor, maybe you did too, that Jade Cargill is apparently got her eyes on that other company. After showing up on AEW television after what, 4 months, I think it was? Fightful has reported that Jade Cargill is believed to be finishing up with AEW. Sources within both AEW and WWE told Fightful they believe Cargill is on her way to WWE. After being away from AEW for nearly 4 months, Cargill returned to television, as we just said. Now, you guys, there will be a couple things that you'll know right off the bat. This is no mystery to anyone listening or watching. And if you don't know these things or say you don't know these things, you are being dishonest with me. Okay. Jade Cargill likely will not be Jade Cargill if she goes to that company. Okay. They like to own the name. They like to own all kinds of stuff about you. Cody Rhodes signed the deal of a lifetime, and good on Cody. I'm glad he got the money he wanted, apparently. I don't know if he got creative control of his character. I suspect he did not. I don't know if anybody that should have creative control of their character. That's a slippery slope that I would never allow any talent to have if I'm the guy booking, but that's just me. So yeah, I don't know what the truth is there or not, but Cody kept his gear. Cody kept his hair. Cody kept his tat. Cody kept his colors. Cody kept his music. Cody kept his entrance. Cody kept everything. Cody kept his nickname. I'm just saying, and I'm sure Pharaoh's been at that show before. Walking the dog. What will Jay get to be when she gets there? I don't have any idea. Now, in that company, you could make the case, and Brino, if you're still here, you might back me up. You could make the case that in that company that she will have, I don't want to say an easier time, but you got to remember the talent that she faced in AEW. These girls they're the real deal, man. I'm not saying that WWE doesn't have that level of talent. They do. They got Becky, they got Bayley, they got Charlotte, they got Asuka, they got I can't remember her name. They changed her name. The goddess of the skies. What, Io Shirai? Or whatever they're calling her now. I don't know. Io Sky, I guess. Whatever. But they've got great talents. I guess what I'm trying to say is in WWE, I think that she will be able to be showcased a little bit more, perhaps. And again, not easier, but maybe not as uncomfortable at times. I don't know how to phrase it. A worker would know how to phrase it. A worker would know how to phrase it. What's up, Tim? Ray was on last week, and I don't see him at all. Anybody heard from Ray? Should we send a search party for Ray Dean? What's up, Travis? Says, this is what I've been waiting to talk about. JW sounds great. Think about a combo of her and MVP. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. If you're talking about put her with a mouthpiece because he can talk, okay. Put her with Heyman. Do you know what I mean? I get where you're coming from. I'm not disputing that it'd be a nice combo. You're 100% right. But I do think that company has a notorious track record of taking African-American stars and just putting them with each other. And I'm not trying to say you meant it that way. I don't take it that way. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to see that. Like, I want something different. You know what I mean? But that's me talking. Who knows? They may very well do it. They may very well do it. She'll shine there. Dude, I think she shined AEW. You know how many comments I read over the past couple days by these numbskulls online? And there's a bunch of them. These numbskulls online who said things like, well, finally she'll get a fair shake. AEW didn't give her anything. And I'm like, yeah, dude, she undefeated for a year, I think, right? What are you talking about? Come on, man. Numbskulls. Hoy. My kid's birthday was good, man. Thanks for asking. Dan says Cargill needs lots and lots of months in the Performance Center being properly trained. I disagree with that. She's being trained by Danielson AEW and still didn't improve. I disagree with that as well. She's better than she was. However, I think you're right to the point of they will put her in the Performance Center. It doesn't mean that she'll go to NXT. It just means that Performance Center, yeah, they'll give her some work. She'll need some work. She's a lot better than she was. And I can say that now. A year ago, I was saying to anybody that asked me, and I didn't volunteer it, but to anybody that asked me a year ago, I said, she's uncomfortable. She doesn't know how to move. She doesn't know what to do with herself. In the meantime, between touching her opponent and running a spot, she was getting lost. She looked confused half the time. Look, I was being honest. And I also predicated those comments with this when I said that, to be honest with you and to be out of fairness to her, they were asking her to learn her craft on live television. I didn't think that was good. I didn't think it was the right idea. I still don't. All due respect to Tony Khan and company over there. But I kept thinking, why are we letting her learn her craft on live television? I don't get that at all. Especially on Dynamite, for goodness sake. She has improved. Is she of the level of Bayley? No. Is she of the level of Jamie Hayter? No. Okay. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But now that she is where she is and she can write her own ticket supposedly to go to the other company, they're not going to not put her on TV, dude. They're not going to not showcase her. And you may only see her, throwing some girls around for a while and maybe even some men as well. Maybe she won't bump for a bit. Maybe behind the scenes, she will be working out and getting smoother. I hope so. I don't dislike her at all, man. He says, I want to see Cody versus Stardust at WrestleMania. Well, you can want a lot of things there, E. Gavin says, only very rare few have had control of their name. AJ says, yeah, well, if you're smart, Gavin, if you're one of these guys and you're smart, you take control of your name very, very early on. You know what I mean? That way you own it. Good for them. Bret Hitman Hart, same thing. Same thing. Bruno says he's chilling with Adam Cole. Yeah, Ray was in Discord, yeah. Rob says it'll be a huge mistake for Jade Cargill to go to WWE. Ooh, interesting take. I am by no means prejudiced at all, just reviewing WWE history. With women of Jay's color, they don't seem to get much push. Am I wrong in saying that? I don't think you're disrespectful at all in saying that. I didn't read any disrespect out of your tone at all. And I would be concerned as well. Look, that company does not have a great track record of pushing African Americans to the top of the ranks. Don't anybody talk to me about Kofi. I don't want to hear it. I don't care what anybody, I don't want to hear it. Don't talk to me about Kofi. We see how Kofi lost that belt. I will forever have a bad taste in my mouth with how he lost that belt. Same with Big E. I will forever have a bad taste in my mouth. Forever. The way Brock destroyed both those guys. Killed them. Yeah. I think your concern is warranted. Elvis says, then the return of Nia Jax. What will Debbie do with her now? I got nothing to say about that. Nothing. Chris says, I feel bad for TK. He built her ground up and she might be out. That sucks. Yeah. AEW gave her the world, including a trainer and Daniel Bryan. Yeah. I don't think WWE will sign her because how do you justify the NXT contract matching whatever AEW offers? Look, maybe she won't go. If I were her, I wouldn't burn any bridges, and I would talk to Tony 101 and get his blessing. And if she got it, I'd go. You know why? Because she's not getting any younger. None of us are. So like, go, see what happens, but get some things in writing before you put your name to the paper, right? Get some things in writing. Get the deal you want and don't settle for anything less. And if they don't give you the deal that you want, don't sign it. That's what I would do. If I were her, I'd cash in. I would, for sure. Doesn't mean you got to stay there till you retire. She could stay there for a year or two and come back. Imagine how much bigger she'll be when she comes back. No matter what she does in that company, the AEW crowd will still eat it up. They will. Jamel says, I thought I was the only person in the world that thinks she isn't that good. She's still not exactly 100% smooth. She's not. I agree with you. Shane says that Denver needs to dial back Raw to 2 hours. It's not going to happen. It won't happen. Shane, everybody get off this. Shane, don't take this personally. Everybody get off this 2 hour Raw kick. They're making money with 3 hours, okay? Money. When you make money, you don't knock it to 2. I'm not saying you're wrong. He says 3 hours of Raw and we get Nia Jax at the end of the show. Hot garbage. I'm on board. But everybody that wants them to go to 2 hours, understand that there's money involved with that third hour. They getting paid. You know what I mean? Now, does that mean they won't go to 2? Absolutely not. I could be dead wrong. But to my understanding of how that TV deal works, they're making money hand over fist with that third hour. Why in the world, if a TV network wants third hour and is giving you money for a third hour of television, why you wouldn't do it? Especially if you're that company with the size locker room they have and the production levels they have. They'd be crazy to go back to 2 hours. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying. Keith says Dolph Ziggler taking time off but not released according to Ringside News. Brother, if you believe anything Ringside News says, if Ringside News reports the grass is green, you better go outside and check. Listen, I spent a lot of years writing full-time as a pro wrestling columnist. I was an editor, a senior columnist, a featured columnist on Bleacher Report, Sports Keto, What Culture, the Sports Daily, the Camel Clutch blog. I've forgotten some of the ones I wrote for, ProWrestling.com, a lot of years. And we all knew that Ringside News was trash. We all knew it. We all knew it. I'm just letting you know. It's cool that you're getting your news, brother, but I would never get it. I would trust Dave Meltzer in a heartbeat. And for anybody that wants to slam Dave Meltzer's made a living doing what he's doing for years and employs other people so they can earn a living as well. And Dave is respected in the industry. He's respected by men and women in locker rooms across the world. I mean, fans can boo and bail on him all they want. I don't really care what they say about him. Is he right all the time? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But there's some level-headed guys doing some honest reporting out there. But I don't count Ringside News as being one of them at all. What's up, Nate? Nate says, too many high-level female performers now to learn on the job. So all right. too many high level female performers now to learn on the job. Oh, I get you. No, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Hard to learn on the job. Yeah, on live TV, it's hard. Daniel says that was AEW's fault for trying to make her like Goldberg just because she has the look. Muscles don't translate to talent, but Khan didn't get that memo. But listen, I get where you're coming from, but Khan saw, look, I'm not defending anybody here, but Khan saw an opportunity. Jade has a great look. It's not just muscles. Jade has a great look. We throw the word goddess around a little bit too much sometimes when it comes to women in this business because it's kind of an overused cliche. Look at her. Dude, Jade is Wonder Woman. Okay? All respect to Gal Gadot. Oh my God in heaven. Freaking Jade, dude. Jade is Xena, Amazon Warrior Princess. She-Ra. I'm just saying. Holy Lord. She's got a look. She's crazy athletic. If she's easy to work with behind the scenes and willing to learn and doing the best she can, why don't you use her? Now, to your point, Daniel, do you use her to the degree that they did? Maybe not. But it worked. She won the crowd, didn't she? That crowd ate it up. It took them a while to get to her side, but they love her. What's up, Charlotte? Good to see you, my friend. Family's doing well. Family's doing well. Hope yours are. Hope yours is as well. Who are we talking about hurting someone else? We talking about Nia? Yeah. Don't be surprised when she does. He says, on a side note, why put the NXT Women's Championship on Becky? Why not? Becky should have won by DQ, so that means Tiffany would still be champion. Tiffany was robbed and broke a few nails. I disagree, E. Anytime Becky Lynch gets a belt put on her, we should never be asking, why did this happen? It's Becky freaking Lynch. It's the man, dude. You know how good Becky is? Becky, listen, I will don't anyone ever discount Becky Lynch from doing anything in this business. You have to remember, they did nothing for her. They didn't care about her. They didn't care if she succeeded. They didn't give her anything to work with. They had her come out and do a stupid dance on stage like a friggin' moron because when they don't know what to do with you in that company, they have you dance around. Ask Shanky, he'll tell you. Ask the great Khali. Ask Brodus Clay. They'll all tell you the same thing. They got nothing to do. I'm just going to dance around. They told me to dance. Okay? She made her way on social media. She lit the fire on social media that the fans couldn't take their eyes off of, and it burned everybody up. Fast forward, we got the Becky Lynch we've got today, who is considered, maybe legendary status in that company. And she's earned it. She deserves it. Good for her. I would never be asking, why did they put a belt on Becky Lynch? There's a story they're telling here. Don't be surprised if Tiffany comes out of this thing looking better than she does right now. Besides, man, with Becky in that locker room, those girls are going to learn something. That's the truth. Jade versus Bianca is one we need to see. Yeah. Jade versus Charlotte. Jade versus any of those women. Feed Nia to her. At least Jade knows how to work. Jade still being a little stiff in the ring doesn't mean that Jade doesn't know how to work. What kills me is that Nia has been fully trained, has been wrestling or whatever she calls that for years, and still can't do it. Okay? I mean, it's mind-blowing. I don't care what anybody says. I listen to everyone's opinion, but sometimes I know I'm right, and I just say it. That's it. Chris says, I don't think she can cash in and go to NXT, though. That is the thing, not without upsetting the rest of that roster. Who you talking about? Talking about Jade? Yeah, who cares about the roster? I'm not trying to be combative. At the end of the day, who cares what the roster wants? I'm guilty as anybody else of going, the locker room, they shouldn't do it because of blah, blah, blah for the locker room. CM Punk shouldn't blah. At the end of the day, it's a money business. They're just trying to make money and spike ratings. They're going to sign whoever they want to sign. Well, WWE is going to sign whoever they can sign to keep them from AEW. That's number one. Anyone that doesn't believe that is dead wrong. Need to check yourself at the door. Okay. But number two, the person that gives them an opportunity to make some money. A person they can earn money off their back. Jade's got a big, strong back. They're going to earn money off of it. Like they do everybody else in that place that goes in the ring and puts themselves on the line every day. Heck with what the roster think. I'm not disputing what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I agree, actually. But I'm saying from an overall standpoint, unless you're bringing in Jack the Ripper, you know what I mean? Like, this company brought back Scott Hall with his issues. This company brought in Eric Bischoff when he tried to destroy the company from the outside in. I mean, you got to think of who you're talking about here too. Let's keep that. Jade's done nothing wrong. You see what I'm saying? So Becky could be a Grand Slam champion. Well, maybe. Brenda says everybody already pulling Bianca versus Jade out of thin air. I'm good on that. I know exactly what you mean. I'm not lost on what you said, Brina, I promise you. USA made the call for Raw to be 3 hours. It's not WWE's decision. Daniel, I disagree. WWE's getting money. Dude, do you believe that WWE's got no part of a 3rd hour decision? That they had no say-so? That USA said, we demand a 3rd hour of television. They're making money hand over fist. If the network wants a 3rd hour, you give them a 3rd hour. That's what I said earlier. If the network wants that's what I just said. If the network wants a 3rd hour of TV, you give them a 3rd hour of TV. They want your product that much and are willing to pay to get it. And sponsorship money and everything that goes along with the 3rd hour of TV, of course you take it. They're crazy not to. Chris says 2 hours never happen. That ship is sailed as long as they're on USA and USA has nothing else to offer. And look, you're right. And if they were to go to another network, NBC or whoever could tell them, hey, we want 3 hours. It can happen. He says, what do you think if Christian Cage ever stepped into the ring with David Benoit? What do you think, Christian? Nah, we're not going to go there, E. Love you. Chad says, Tom, where do you see SmackDown ending up TV deal-wise? I don't know, brother. That's a good question. You talking about TV money? Look, that company's never been more profitable due to some shrewd business decisions over the past few years, in my opinion. Saudi Arabia. Excuse me. I got choked up for a second. I need to take a sip of this here water, yeah? And a lot of other things they've done behind the scenes, okay? But look, they're making money hand over fist. I'm curious to see, as you are, what's going to happen with the SmackDown deal. We'll see. James, are you at GCW? Holy Lord, how's the show, dude? How is the show? Chris says F4W and PW Torch. If something pops from outside of that question, I question immediately. Guys, I'm behind on the comments. I apologize. David, what's up? My family's good, man. Hope yours are as well. Chris says, I think we're being hard on Jade and not taking into account that she had higher rating segments than most of the other women on the current roster who are better wrestlers. Everybody read that. Read it. Recognize. Shane says, if any wrestler needs to leave AEW and go to WWE, it's Brian Cage. Brian's getting a lot, though. I've said for years that Vince McMahon has been drooling over himself and falling down shirtless over Brian Cage, but maybe he hasn't. I don't know. But I've always thought that he would fit in quite nicely in the 1980s era of WWF. But today, yeah, sure. He says Ricky Starks at WWE can make it happen. Ricky's still young. If he were to leave AEW and get a good deal, go. Test the waters. Do what you can do. Make some money. Bank it if nothing else. Bank it if nothing else. Nate says Becky has the best puns in wrestling. There you go. He says, wish we could get Jade versus Naomi versus Tessa Blanchard. Tessa Blanchard. Yeah, we've talked a lot about that. Jade versus Rhea Ripley. And you know what's great about all these women we've been talking about in WWE that could work Jade? They're all talented. They all know what they're doing. They could help Jade. Help make her look good. Jeffrey says Raw is the highest ratings on USA. There's no way USA will let WWE get it back to 2 hours. I mean, it would have to be a mutual decision. You can't, I guess you could force a company to do anything, but look, if WWE wanted to be salty about it and didn't want a third hour and thought it was crap, they could just take an entire third hour and just show reruns of old matches or something. If they really wanted to be salty about it, that'd be dumb. But you know. Travis says, read a headline today. Don't remember the source, but it talked about WWE changing titles and creating weight divisions. Oh, my God. Look, dude, that company could do anything. Nothing would surprise me. Nothing would surprise me at this point. What, coming out of that company? Yeah. Do whatever they want to do. I don't care. Nate says all the network cares about is, one, how little they can pay for content, and two, how much ad revenue they can make based on selling to their Nielsen demo. Nothing else matters. 100% agree. 100% agree. Man, I got through those comments quick. We got about 10 minutes left in the show, kids. Let's talk about AEW Grand Slam, baby. On Dynamite, live on September 20th. Here's the matches so far on the card. Christian Cage and Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin and Sting in a tag team match. Jon Moxley versus Rey Fenix, singles match with AEW International Championship. That, as the kids say, will be a banger. Claudio Castagnoli, RH World Champion, defending against Eddie Kingston, the New Japan IWGP Strong Openweight Champion. Winner takes all match. Look, I think this is Eddie's time. I hope this is Eddie's time. I don't know how you don't put Eddie over in this match. Eddie had a great run in Japan for the G1 Climax. I don't know how you don't put him over here. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of to not put him over here. I think it's a bad move. You need to put this guy over. Give him that belt. Let's move on from Claudio. In my opinion, that's what you do. I'm just saying. Okay? I think it's time. Chris Jericho versus Sammy Guevara in a singles match. Do we think that's going to end with a turn? One or the other, or double perhaps? Who knows? Saraya versus Toni Storm, AEW Women's World Championship match. And MJF defending the AEW World Heavyweight Championship against Samoa Joe. There you go, baby. That's night one. Night one. And I assume that night two will be on AEW Rampage on that Friday. Yeah. Arthur Ashe Stadium, kids. There you go. There's your card for Grand Slam. What are we thinking about Grand Slam, kids? Chris says Sting and Darby win. Agreed. Kingston win. Agreed. Jericho win. Agreed. Saraya win. MJF win. I agree with all those. I like when people disagree. I'm good with that. Tim says he's got Claudio. Don't be sorry for that. Don't be sorry for that. Jeff says, do I think The Rock will show up SmackDown tonight since he is in Boulder for the college? You know, I don't know why. If you're going to have The Rock on your show, how do you not advertise him and boost the rating? You know what I mean? Or have somebody call him out and then present it like, will he show up on Friday night? We'll see. That's me talking. That's me talking. Chad says, OMG, Toni Storm is getting it. Toni Storm, you can't even repeat her catchphrase. They put that on a shirt. Have you seen the Toni Storm shirt? I'm not going to say the word. I don't want to be crude here, man. But since you brought it up, I'll bring it up on a screen share and I'll let you see this bad boy. Once you see this, you're going to be like, oh my God. Da, 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 da. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, da, da. Oh. This moment of babbling nonsense brought to you by Tom Clark's Main Event. Present. All right, ready? Chin up. Boom out. Toni Storm. Here's what I'll tell you. If you don't like Toni Storm, there's something wrong with you. All right? Check yourself. Toni Storm is freaking awesome. I love her. I loved her anyway. I love her more now. This business is so good. Do you want to know why? Among other reasons why this business is so good. I'll tell you. You asked, I'll tell. This business is so good because all it takes is one thing. Anybody see City Slickers? You got to know that one thing. What one thing? Well, what's the one thing? It's different for everybody. What's the one thing that gets you out of bed in the morning? What's the one thing? that means the most to you? What's the one thing that works for you? Pro wrestling's the same way. All it takes is one thing to turn everything on its ear and not only mean the difference between you and what you do in the business, but you and your place in the business and your future in the business. Tony Storm took a whatever this idea for a character, this Marlena Dietrich, 1940s, glamour Hollywood star, whatever she wants to call this. She took this idea for a star, and it's crazy. Daniel Garcia with the dumbest dance that little stupid white boy dance that he does that's freaking terrible. People cannot get enough of that. Okay? That's why I love pro wrestling. That's why I love pro wrestling. If anybody thinks that I'm wrong, I haven't done this in a long time, but I'm feeling a certain kind of way today. If anybody thinks I'm wrong, what about this? What? Have you forgotten? What? You need a reminder? What? Want to hear it one more time? What? How about again? What? Just for the sake of it. That came from nothing. Do you know what that came from? That came from, so the story was, if I'm remembering correctly, he and Christian used to leave each other stupid voicemails. Voicemails were about nothing. They were about nothing. This was back when both guys were in that company, okay, working. And that they would just leave each other a voicemail about nothing. And that Austin one day calls him up, and he's leaving this big, long, rambling voicemail, and every other word he's saying, every other word. I don't know how long the message was, 20 minutes or whatever. I don't know. But apparently Christian calls him at some point or sees him at a show after this and says, and he's laughing. He says, "You need to start using that." And he's like, "Really?" And he goes, "I'm telling you that you got to start using this. This is hilarious." So that's why I started using it. It came from nothing. That's why I love pro wrestling. That's one of the reasons why I love pro wrestling, is that the dumbest stuff you've ever seen can make its way on the TV, make its way onto a shirt, onto a hat, onto a poster, onto a notebook cover, onto shoes, onto pants, onto a banner, onto a billboard, onto TV commercials, onto regular TV. I mean, when he was Daniel Bryan, he was doing no. Remember no? Every time he said no, no. And it became, what did no become? Yes. It's one word. It's one stupid word that no one cared about until they cared about it. And then college football games, NFL games, NBA games, places where Daniel never was. Pro wrestling shows that Daniel wasn't a part of. Pro wrestling companies that Daniel wasn't even employed by were doing this in the crowd and chanting yes. It's one of the reasons I love this business, because anybody can come up with anything at any time. And it's solid gold, man. It's solid gold. If you don't love that, there's something wrong with you, man. I'm telling you. They says this one thing is cake. Oh, that's funny. CRP says he misses Team Hell No. That was such a fun ride. Remember the spot where Kane is walking down the hallway and the cameraman's like this? You know what I mean? So the perspective, it's your perspective, and Kane's walking toward you down the hallway. He's doing this typical Kane stuff with his gloves. And Daniel comes out of nowhere, and he's got his head down, pouting. He goes, Kane. And he's like doing that power walk beside of him. Kane. And finally, Kane stops and goes, what? And they start talking, and he's pouting because Kane wasn't tagging with him that night. In the middle of Daniel pouting, Kane just walks off. That is one of the most memorable things I've ever seen. One of the funniest spots ever. Chad says, I'm waiting for a segment where LA Knight's show is in the ring and Stone Cold shows up and we get this Stone Cold versus... Oh my God, I'm so here for that. You have no idea how much I'm here for that. I'd be totally okay with that, man. So we get...
What? Yeah. What? Yeah.
I got to update the LA Knight pick, don't I? I shows you how old it is. That'd be fun. That would be fun. He says, well, I'd love to do something with Chris, man. Me and him have never done anything. I'd be down with that. I got to be sure it's something he wants to do too. I don't want to invite myself on his show. I could invite him to the main event, though. I've never done that. I need to invite him on here, man. Maybe we could guest spot on each other's show. I'd love to do something with Chris. If he's got time. We're all so busy, man. You know what I mean? I'd love to. If he's down for it, I'd be up for it for sure. Tim says the Fandango song was on NBA arenas too. Oh, yeah, you're right about that. Hey, do me a favor. Let's just open this floor up. We're at the top of the hour. We'll take a few minutes with some questions, and we're going to get out of here. You've been very quiet, Ray. I hope you're feeling all right. Don't forget about camera ground. Yeah, I'm not going to do all the buttons. I'm not going to do buttons on command or on demand. I love Chris as well, man. I do. Maybe one of these days we'll end up on a website together again. That'd be cool. CRP saying the therapist making them hug was also pretty good. It was great. And Brian just yelling no while getting hugged by the baby. That's so good. Hug it out. Where'd that come from? Team Hell No. They're still doing it. They're doing it in AEW. Where'd it come from? A goofball gimmick that never should have got over. Remember Goldust and Booker T? That never should have worked. That never should have got. Man, did that thing get over. That thing got so over, it's crazy. That thing was huge at the time. Goldberg or Booker T and Goldust? Yeah, dude, that thing was over. Trust me. Now the promo should be LA Knight versus Bad News Barrett. I'm afraid I've got some bad... I can't get my voice down. I'm afraid I've got some bad news. I like Wade a lot, man. He says, do you think Vince should go into the Hall of Fame? It's his company, brother. If he wants to put himself in, he should just put himself in. Why not? He wants to put himself in over pro wrestling talents. Hey, whatever, man. Look, I'm not going to discount his contributions to the business. You could make the case that Vince McMahon, through his foresight and his forward thinking and his promotional tactics and, you know, everything he did for the business of pro wrestling, modern pro wrestling maybe wouldn't exist without WWE. I'm not going to argue that point. I'll never not give the guy his credit and give him his flowers where he's earned them, but I'll never not also point out things that he's done, things that company has done that have been nothing short of ridiculous hot garbage. Rena Lesnar. If you spelled that incorrectly and it's supposed to be Lesnar as in Brock Lesnar, then I would suspect that it's Sable you're talking about. Because it was Rena Mara was her name, right? Peter Gruner. How do I not know that? I don't think I know that one. Peter Gruner Jr. and Jonathan Wazinski. Brother, you got me. I don't know. Chris says Vince being in the Hall of Fame as a performer is one of the best heels of all time. I totally agree. He says Tom Clark Podcast Hall. Brother, I'm so far from a podcast Hall of Fame, it's not even funny. I enjoy what I do. I appreciate you saying that. I love doing this, but I'm on nobody's top 10 list, man. I just do what I do. I do what I can. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me every Friday, man. Kevin says, Miss Elizabeth ever get put into the WWE Hall of Fame? Maybe. Number 3 is Greg Valentine. Oh, wow. I was yeah. And Billy Kidman is number 2. Ah, interesting. Man, dude, Ray's not here. Somebody go check on Ray. Send Ray a message. That's crazy. Ray's going to do the 6M with me next week. Not next week, the week after. Me and Phil and Ray are going to do Luke Cage. Should be a good one. You guys keeping up the 6M podcast? I'd appreciate it if you would. He said Jericho, in my view, is on the Mount Rushmore, although I disagree with politically. I don't know if he's on my Mount Rushmore, but I'll always give Jericho his flowers for being the star that he is. I have not heard an update on Edge to AEW. I'd love to see him go for a run. Go for a year and then call it quits if he wants to. Or go and stay longer. Him and Christian would be interesting. I would think that's why he'd want to go. But I could be wrong. Chad, too bad. I appreciate what you said, my friend. Thank you for that. Tim says Tom should be brother, I haven't managed in years, and I'm sure they don't want me. I give it a try. I probably look more like that smart Mark Sterling guy in AEW. I like him. He's grown on me. I don't dislike anybody in that company, like dislike, right? But yeah, got to give him his props, man. He's worked hard. He's worked hard. He says Gail Kim should be the Hall of Fame. WWE did her. I agree with that. But you could also say they did it to Mickie James and then brought her back, didn't they? Didn't they bring her back for something after they did what they did to her? Or was that before? Yeah, I don't remember. Zero chance Miss Elizabeth or woman get in because of the stigma. I don't know why Miss Elizabeth would be kept out, though. Because of the way she died? Yeah, it's true. That could be right. I don't think woman gets in. I agree with you. I don't think she'll get in. And you know what? If you're that family at this point, that family, I don't know. I'm not part of that family. But I would suspect if you're part of that family, you just want to let all that stuff just rest. Just let it rest. You know what I mean? These people that go around saying stuff about so-and-so should be in the Hall of Fame, like, God, dude, let it go. Jeez. What is your Mount Rushmore of your active Oh, well, that I can do. How many's on there? 4? Or is it 5? Isn't that awful? How many faces are on the Mount Rushmore? Is it 4 or 5? I can't remember. 4. Thank you, Jeffrey. There was a stand-up comic that had a bit with where this mom was talking to her kid, and the kid's name was Jeffrey. No, that was Bill Cosby. Every time I see your name, I think of that. Well, there you go, Nate. There's nothing more needs to be said. That's excellent. Okada 4 times. Okay, I will say Okada for sure is on there, for sure. God, this might be tougher than I thought. Okada, Bryan Danielson. Man, that's tough. That's tough. Okada and Bryan Danielson are up there for sure. Because, see, my definition of what makes a pro wrestler great may not be other people's definition of what makes a pro wrestler great. You know what I mean? It just may not be. My definition of a great pro wrestler is that person can step into the ring with anyone and have a 5-star match. Anybody on any level. That's the sign of a great professional wrestler. Anybody. And not only that, but get the best out of that person they could have gotten out of, that anybody else could have gotten out of that person. Man, that's tough. I didn't think it would be that tough. Do I put Moxley up there? Christopher says Okada, Roman, Moxley, Danielson. It's hard to argue with that. Ospreay, that's a good one. How about Danielson, Okada, Ospreay? Man. God, dude, I don't know if I could say Roman. I like Roman a lot. No disrespect to the guy, but I don't know if I can say Roman. Who's the best worker in that company today? Who is the best worker? AJ Styles. I'm sorry. To me, I think AJ Styles, maybe AJ and Seth could switch in and out for the 4th spot. That's how I feel. I can't believe Ray never showed up. Definitely going to have to check on that guy. He's going to hit me with 2 questions next week, dude. You wait and see. Couple more minutes. And then we're going to get out of here. Oh, Ray said he's going to Grand Slam. Great. Good for him, man. I judged on overall package. That's fair. Moxley wouldn't have made it that list at all if I did other. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. He says Rhea, Dirty Tom, Finn, and Priest. Shane says AJ Styles, Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe, and Edge. Ooh, interesting. Nick Aldis is excellent. Nick Aldis is the freaking man. Yeah, the national treasure. David Brasher says Seth Rollins working. Yeah, dude, Seth is a dog. You know what I mean? Seth is a dog. He is. He's the real deal, brother. He's the real deal. Seth needs to get his flowers at some point. He deserves them. He's earned them. He's so good. CRP says, can we talk about how Punk got kicked out and Joe didn't bat an eye and taken that spot? Yeah, dude, he kind of just slid right in, didn't he? Good for him. Good for him, man. All right, baby, it's 10 after. It is time for some of us to get on with the rest of our evenings. I want to tell you all right now, thank you very much for tuning in today, as you always do. Remember to subscribe, follow, download Tom Clark's Main Event. Thanks much. Tom Clark's 6M podcast and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. New main event episodes are every Friday. New Two Nations episodes are every Saturday, and new 6M podcasts are every Tuesday. There you go. Subscribe to the 3 shows, and don't hold your breath too long. There could be a 4th one at some point. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, say no more, say no more. Hey, what else you going to do with your time? I appreciate all you guys very much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. You guys are the best of all time. Again, much appreciated, much love. Do me a favor, go out and have a great weekend. I appreciate you very much. And we will see you next week, kids. I got nothing more for you. Thanks much. See you around. Tom Clark's Main Event. Have a good one, folks.